Cavin Elizabeth, your go-to for wedding content, advice, and inspiration. And today I'm going to be showing you guys a real wedding mood board that was put together by an amazing florist, Bloom's Design House, for a real wedding, and how they took that mood board and turned it into a real wedding design on the actual wedding day. I'm going to show you guys with my wedding photos that I took. So let's go ahead and jump right into the actual design. So this wedding was planned by Numerology, who was my own wedding planner, and the florist was Bloom's Design House, who is the person who put together this mood board. So it is important to know that when people are putting together mood boards, that you are not going to have, typically not going to have exact replicas of these things on your wedding day. That's almost impossible to do. So you have to go into knowing that you are going to get loose inspirations of these things. And so that is what you need to know. So we are going to go ahead and jump right into this amazing design and how it turned out on the real wedding day. If you guys are new to my channel, be sure to subscribe. I post videos every Tuesday. So this was the general mood and color inspiration: whites and greens with softest accents of muted blush. The feeling of this wedding was supposed to be timeless, clean, elevated, and this was kind of the general inspiration for the ceremony and entrance to home. This took place at my client's house. So you can see that we're working with a pretty neutral color palette here. So this was the inspiration overall. And then here are a couple of my photos. You'll see the bride's bouquet, the entrance to the house in the middle, and then the grooms and groomsmen boutonnieres on the right. So you can kind of see that here. You can't see any of the blush flowers on the left bouquet because of the angle, but you'll see them a little bit later. So jumping on into a little bit more of the color inspiration, and this was reflected in more of the reception style design. So I'll show you guys a photo in just a second. So you can kind of see whites and neutrals moving into pinks, peaches, golden honey, and caramel accents with rich garden foliage. So the feeling of the reception was supposed to move more into this warmth, textural, abundant, and whimsical feeling for the tinted dinner area. So you can see we've got more color. So the ceremony and beginning of the day was supposed to be more neutral, and then we were supposed to kind of warm it up, have more color later on. So you can see some kind of terracotta in here that you'll see later on in the day, and a little bit of what we are supposed to expect later. And then here is a peek of the actual reception. I love this wedding. It was so colorful and fun. So you can kind of see the terracotta on the bottom for some of the vases, and then the flowers get really colorful. So that is kind of how they took the mood inspiration board and then what transformed into the real reception look. So I love this next slide. This is really fun. So this was just more inspiration for the reception and then a little bit of cocktail hour. So this was the poolside inspiration. So my clients did have a pool at their house. This is the bride's parents' house. And so you'll see that for their actual pool, this is what they had. So lots of pretty flowers on the pool. And then you can see in this big overall photo that I took from their parents' balcony of these little flowers down in the corner by the bar. So that's where they pushed them all so that people, when they were getting their drinks, they would see the flowers in the pool. All right, so this was kind of the flower recipe. So typically in the mood board, maybe that the florist puts together, you might have flower recipe. Now, a lot of times when you are building out flower recipes, you might not always get all those flowers. And this happened to me for my own wedding. I think it was with ranunculus that I wanted, but something happened to ranunculus that week and I wasn't able to get them. So we had to replace them with something else. So you might not always get the proposed flowers. Florists have to switch them out, whether the cost went up for some reason or like a heat wave came through. So you might not always see them all, but this is what the proposed flowers were. So you can kind of see there's some roses in here, there were some hydrangeas, some delphiniums, other different flowers, some smilax that I think my face is covering up right now. And then in here, you'll see on the cake some smilax, roses in here, some more terracotta vessels, and then down here on the right, you'll see the ceremony, lots of greenery foliage and some pops of flowers, really pretty, just kind of an organic look going on here. So I love this. And then for the personals, personals are the flowers that are carried by people, so bridesmaids, groomsmen, flower girls, things like that. That's why they call them personal flowers. And so you'll see this was the overall vibe and inspiration that we were going for the bouquet, boutonnieres, things like that. I don't think any of the flower girls ended up wearing flower crowns, but this was just the inspiration. And then you'll see for the actual bouquet and boutonnieres, this was pretty close. So if we go back and forth, pretty spot on. The bride's bouquet, you can see there's little pops of blush in there and really soft ivory flowers, just a really, really lush, delicate, soft bouquet. So this was partly ceremony inspiration and then inspiration for back at the house after guests came back over from the ceremony. So you can see that we've got some really kind of wild and lush arrangements for the ceremony, and then they had a fountain at their house, so this was the inspiration for the fountain. There was also a fireplace, inspiration for that as well, so we'll get to that. First, I want to show you guys the ceremony. So the ceremony was at a church, but it was held outside because this was peak COVID. So these were the arrangements down the aisle, and you can see again, they were kind of wild like the inspiration. This was how it turned out, really spot on. For the fountain, I wanted to switch back to the slide again and then show you guys this is how it turned out. So really pretty. So again, you're not doing necessarily carbon copies of what the inspiration was. You're letting it guide you, and I think that that's the best way to go about it. You hire professionals, trust them to do beautiful work that's for you. If you want someone to copy something, I mean, that's great if that's what you want, but personally for me, I would rather take the inspiration and then let my florist, let my planner, then tailor it to my personality, my vibe, my desires, and let it be unique and one of a kind for me. I think that's a little bit more interesting, and then I have something to put out in the world, put on Pinterest, that other brides are going to find really inspiring. So I love the way that these turned out, and I think that they were really cool that they were able to modify this in a way that really fit the space for this couple. So for the Centerpiece Inspiration, the couple did have their reception in a tent, and so the florist modified these for their tent, and so you can see we've got some hanging greenery inspiration in here, some ivory plates, and then some colorful centerpieces. There were also lots of candles in here. They ended up having more taper candles than candles, like thicker candles in hurricanes, but you can see here that we did have smilax hanging from the ceiling on some wires, as well as up the sides of the tent, and then on these chandeliers in here, really pretty. So just tons of foliage in this space, and then greenery on the tables. There are some candles and hurricanes on the tables, but lots of taper candles that were really dark taper candles in here that were really nice and just added a little bit of moodiness to the space. And I'm going back to this slide to show you guys this so you can get another look at the centerpieces themselves. And then you can see here they did have those ivory plates and then the colorful flowers, which were really nice. So I love that they brought the color into this space, like that was their intention, to really warm up the evening and depart from that more neutral bit of the day that was just a little bit more simple, and this was just a little bit more vibrant. Okay, and then kind of the last thing that I wanted to show you guys was this slide where they had the glassware and rentals. You can see a lot of terracotta on here, and I wanted to show you guys their really cool Escort card display, which wasn't technically cards, but it was this really cool terracotta display of lots of these different pots. This is a really organic vibe, and they had all of the guest table numbers and names written on here by my friend from Four Things Paper. She did part of my wedding, and I thought this was a really, really unique display, and I really loved it. So this is how this wedding was brought to life from the mood board, and I thought it was just really cool to show you guys. I have a couple other of these that I can show you, so if you found this interesting on how these mood boards are brought to life by the vendors on the actual wedding day, I can absolutely do more of these, so let me know down in the comments if you want to see more, and I will certainly show you more. Be sure to subscribe if you are new here, or if you are just a lurker, long-time lurker, and non-subscriber, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!